Joining us right now is retired Army Major and military analyst Mike Lyons. Mike, I just saw you on TV, by the way. You're doing an outstanding
Fantastic job.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, guys.
Mike, are you ever upset that we never call you just to say hi? We only call you when the world is coming apart.
No, that's okay. I got one of those jobs like in IT, right? No one calls those guys and say, "Hey, things are working great. Appreciate it." They only call when it's a problem.
Oh,
it's okay.
So I don't even know where to start. How about this? I'm going to start with this.
Yeah.
Israel and Iran are now trading missile and drone attacks, I think is a fair way to put it. How does this end? What does victory look like? How does this end?
So I think you're going to see the objective that Israel has was to destroy the Iranian nuclear capability. So that's the number one mission here, and they could say they'll stop when they think they've done that. Now, they might end up destroying a lot of other military operations. They might they might take out a lot more Iranian leadership. There's other things that are going to take place. But I think from that perspective, so it's similar to what we did in Desert Storm in 91. We said we're just going to take out that capability. And I don't think Iran has any off-ramp at this point. I think first of all, this was inevitable. Israel was never going to let Iran have a nuclear capability. They weren't going to let them negotiate one. The JCPOA from 2015, that just kicked the can down the road. And they're tired of getting the can kicked down the road. So that's why this attack was inevitable. They did it at a time when they thought Iran was the weakest and Israel had the most plans. But where does it end? From Israel's perspective, it ends when Iran surrenders and agrees to inspections to make sure they never have nuclear capability.
Mike Lyons is joining us, a retired Army Major and military analyst. The United States is involved in this somewhat. How involved are we? And I hope we don't get really involved.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, sure. No, we've not spent any blood or minimal treasure, let's say. We trade as a partner. Israel uses Western equipment. And we're helping with the defense as Iran is launching ballistic missiles that really have no directional way for them to know where they're actually going to hit. So that's why we need the Navy that's out there helping them knock those down. But this is an absolute generational change that's taking place in the Middle East right now that we should take advantage of.
Okay.
I mean, I'm frankly looking for a Henry Kissinger, somebody that's going to go in there. Look at the opportunity that exists to get places like Lebanon back together and get Syria, even though that the regime that took over there are formerly terrorists. I'll give you that. But we've seen terrorist organizations decide to become part of the society. Yeah. This comes down to a war of religion still, Shia versus Sunni, which is why in the palace in Saudi Arabia, they might be saying one thing, putting out press releases about how astonished they are, but behind there, they're doing the YMCA dance, and they're all happy that this took place. Iran is totally defanged. It's now no longer this gray zone war. All of the proxy forces have been stripped away. Israel has worked on that the last few years. And so this is mano a mano, and it's a military fight that the Iranians can win. The question is, does the regime survive? And from my perspective, they'll eventually maybe try to negotiate if they think that they're not. I still don't think Israel's going to let them have it. They're just going to continue to put their boot on their neck.
So if they're going to continue to put their boot on Iran's neck, doesn't Iran start to fight dirty? And what does that mean? And how do they fight dirty?
That's the worry.
Yeah.
So I think that their capability to do that is limited still. It's not. They don't have this network that they could release anymore. They're all in the Middle East. They used to have militia brigades inside of Iraq, and they're all gone. And with the help of the CIA, the help of the United States, they've been absolutely exterminated over the past few years. Not just even before the fight that Israel,
Hamas
started,
Hezbollah, Houthis, they're all been neutered to some level.
Exactly.
Good.
Right. So that was Iran's first line of defense in this. That always kept them from not attacking sooner. But it was never a better opportunity than to do this now. When Israel decided to take out Syrian missile capability because they didn't want that to fall into this new regime, they went in and took care of Iranian air defense platforms. So I thought we would have went in with them side by side. I mean, maybe we didn't need to drop any weapon systems, or but we could have helped on protecting those assets. But it just goes to show you the Israeli military is just superb in terms of how they plan things and how they execute things.
We're talking to retired Army major and military analyst Mike Lyons, and to follow up on what Gaydos said, though, if Iran is going to blame us anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like even if we're like, hey, guys, we weren't involved. Didn't Marco Rubio put out a thing? This wasn't us.
Right.
Israel did this unilaterally. Well, if they're going to blame us anyway, are we going to get dragged into something if and when they attack Kuwait, Bahrain, Iraq, etc.?
Yeah. Well, if they're dumb enough to do that, then yes, we would respond to that. We'd proportionally, maybe even disproportionately. We're not invading. We're not going to bring the 82nd Airborne there. That's not happening.
Thank goodness.
But we'll go after military targets. This entire kind of warfare in the Middle East is what we learned from Iraq and even Afghanistan is that there's no need to have a presence on the ground with troops, that we can project power from the sea. We can project power in different ways. Right now, you combine the soft power of the United States with intelligence, satellite shots, and things that we can give to the Israelis, the technology we have. So we have GPS missiles and systems that when we shoot at a target from 400 miles away, with that round lands in a 55-gallon drum. I mean,
right.
That's the level
That's
of
amazing.
accuracy.
Wow.
When the Iranians do that, it lands within 500 yards of the 55-gallon drum.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of areas that go outside of the 500 yards of that kind of ballistic system. So that's the difference. I mean, that's how we've been able to harness the military technology, both from Israel and our perspective. So yeah, if the Iranians were stupid and they tried to do something like that, our response, knowing this president also, would likely be disproportional.
Again, Mike Lyons talking to us. Mike, I swear I could talk to you about this for an hour. The idea, or the genesis of this, is to degrade, wipe out, end the opportunity for Iran to develop nuclear weapons. Can they do that with airstrikes? I mean, I've seen some of this stuff about how deep underground and how hardened some of Iran's facilities are. I mean, can this be done strictly with missiles and planes?
Well, first of all, the nuclear genie's out of the bottle, right? So technically, no. At some point in the future, the country of Iran, depending on who runs it, could have nuclear capability, right? So that's kind of out there. We can kill all the scientists we want and all the like that goes to that. So what we've done here is, again, kick the can down the road, but now the can's really getting kicked down the road. Now, I've watched some of the footage, and I've noticed what I'm called double taps. And what that means is they're firing these missiles at such accuracy that the first one goes in and explodes, softens the target, and the next one comes right behind it. Right. And I think I'm pretty confident that the United States has bunker busters, has other technology that could give to Israel that if they ask, that I'm sure that they'll use in order to go deep. But to say they're going to completely get rid of the program is not realistic. But what it can do is set it back 10, 20, 30 years. Okay. Take away its intellectual capital and the like. Right. So and in this case, Israel has done this before. This is not something that this is new. In '81, they destroyed the Iraqi nuclear capability, a place called Osirak. Took that reactor out. In '07, they just took out the Syrian nuclear capability. They've been at this war with Iran for years. Stuxnet. In 2010, they put a worm inside their centrifuges.
Allegedly,
that way.
Allegedly, Mike.
Right. I know. Okay. Yeah. All right. Wink, wink.
Hey, Mike. Go ahead.
No. So this has been going on for a while.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. This was inevitable. It's just like we're going to play. How do you want to do this? And again, Israel was not going to the United Nations and putting charts, and they were not going to ask permission, and they were not going to write a letter of admonishment to somebody. They were just going to go. Right. I mean, that's what they were going to do.
Last one, Mike. We got about 30 seconds. How do the Iranian people feel about what's happening? What are their views? They don't like their government, right? Well, how do they feel about Israel and the Jews?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would say, there's all different views on that about how they feel about their government. I just don't think it's good for us to project regime change because that never works out. The next regime could be worse than this one. Let's stick to the goals of taking the military capability, getting rid of it, and then moving this nuclear capability down the road.
Right.
I think that would be good enough. And whatever happens to Iran, we're not going to go. Unlike Colin Powell said, if we break it, we buy it. We're not doing that.
I don't want to buy
Who cares
it.
what happens to Iran?
I don't want any part of it. Mike Lyons,
Exactly.
by the way, stay near your phone, please. I have a feeling we might be talking to you again very, very, very soon.
Thanks, Mike.
We appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.